morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are, guys. Thanks for waiting around. We're a little late. I've got now have my clock set for it's only a 6-hour difference between East Coast and Israel right now. We don't go on to daylight savings time for I think till the 27th or something like that. But can you imagine? It used to be 2 or 3 months the time difference till Israel decided to change it, and it drove me crazy because at that time I was doing radio broadcasts every single morning, Israel time. Anyway, this is Pesach Sherbow. Welcome for Torah for the Nations, B'nai Noach Connection with Israel. Thank you for being with us. Today is the 12th day here where we are of March, and it's 2:38 in the morning here. Yes, and sorry I was late. There's Terry Hayes from Tennessee, co-host. Scotty is let's say he's a co-host also. And Thomas, David, good to see you. Angelica, Blaine, Martha, Veronica, and Emuela. Very good. Wow. You know, the first thing I want to talk about is what's happening in the world today. I'm just going to make it quick. Everybody hears about it all the time. Here's where we really got to trust in Hashem. This virus is going around right now. Who knows? I've heard a million different interpretations of what's going on and why it's going on. And do you know what? I look at it in one way and one way only. Hashem knows what he's doing. And he allows things. He doesn't allow things. He's in control. I'm not in control. I have no control. So I just have to go along for the ride, essentially. Now, what happened to Shira and I is we've been in quarantine, but not because we came in contact with the virus. There are other people here in Israel like us that were told to stay home. Why? Because Shira and I both had the regular flu, and we're more susceptible to this other flu. Plus, if you're over 70 years old, or if you have high blood pressure, or if you have certain other respiratory problems, this can be a very dangerous flu, this whatever they call it nowadays, COVID-19 or something. So we've been in isolation in our house. And if you've watched our Facebook page, people came by and did the Megillah reading for Purim for us twice, which we were very happy about. Our rabbi came by. He's the guy that you see in the picture in the funny hat. And a bunch of 4 boys from the yeshiva up the street came by and did it for us on the first day. And what they do, those boys actually, they go around, and anybody that wants to hear the Megillah, anybody that they know that's sick or can't get out or homebound, they go to the person's house and they read it for them. And you dance a little bit, you enjoy the time a little bit. So actually, the first time we went out at all was this morning our time, because we didn't have any groceries in the house. So we had to go do a quick grocery run and come home. We're basically have to stay kind of in isolation. We were told to stay until this coming Sunday, only because we had this other flu and it made it more dangerous. Nobody in our city, thank you, Lord, up till this point in time has been diagnosed with this new virus. Baruch Hashem. In my opinion now, this virus is no more deadly than any other virus we've had, whether it be SARS or MERS or whatever other kind of flus that have come down through the ages. But we get a reminder here what happened in the States in the early 1920s, about 100 years ago, when a lady got off a ship that came from Spain, or she was Spanish born, whatever. They call it the Spanish flu. And it went right through the United States. People were dropping like flies, unfortunately. The flu is something that's been with us, always will be with us. And they call it corona only because all viruses have this little crown on the top of the little microbial bodies or whatever it is. And we're going to make it through this too. We're seeing some things happen, though, that brings us special attention. You know, this week was Purim, in the story of Esther and Mordecai and what happened to the Jews in Persia all those thousands of years ago. And right now, that country is called Iran. And quite a few people from Iran have died, including leaders. And some of our enemies have caught this flu and understand they're in bad shape because those guys run around together, Iran and the Hezbollah and Hamas and all this. So some of them are getting sick, and they're in the group that they need, you know, they either had respiratory problems or their age or whatever. So, you know, whatever's happening is happening. I know it's a panic situation, and a lot of people are really upset and panicked by it. But we still always have to remember that God is in control, and we have to trust God that everything's going to be okay. He's in control of everything. Now, I've heard people say, well, he put it on these people for this reason. He put it on those people for that reason. I'm not a believer in that. I'll tell you why. The God that I know and the Jews know, he is a loving God. There's no way he's going to kill thousands of people just to kill one person or two or three. He'll take care of the three that he's got to take care of, but he's not going to hurt a bunch of other people on the way there. It just doesn't happen. What's happening now is not something that is supernatural. This is something that's very natural. This flu and flus that mutate. Now, the other point is it maybe didn't mutate naturally, but maybe a human being got involved in it and did some gene splicing or some kind of bioengineering. Maybe it happened. But we're allowed that if God had stopped something like that, then he takes away our free choice. We suffer sometimes at our own so that we can keep our own free choice. But he didn't do it himself. And most of the things that have happened to this planet and the condition it's in come from decisions man made, not from decisions God made. Why is the oceans polluted with plastics? Why are we having all kinds of problems? We did it. He didn't. He put us here. Remember what he said to Adam was, after he made him, and it says in the Torah that he set Adam down in the Garden of Eden and said, okay, your job is to guard it. Take care of it. Well, Adam is Adam, which is human beings. He put us on this earth to take care of it. And we kind of screwed up a little bit on that job. We got too greedy. We got too nasty with each other. So things have progressed up to this point. But I don't think that he sent us here as a punishment. Don't think that he's killing thousands of people just to get back at some people he doesn't like or something. It doesn't work. It doesn't equate. So what we all have to do, and there are things we can do. Terry, in a second, you'll read out that comment that Angela just put in. My eyes aren't focusing quite yet. Didn't have my coffee. I got it sitting right here. I'm going to get to it in just a second. Go ahead and read that, Terry.
God loves the animals too, and the animals were crying out, and Hashem answered them in their agony. There is a prohibition against taking the limb of a live animal. China and even here in Canada, it's practice. We need to change things.
That's very true. It's a good comment. Very true. But he didn't send that to punish us. He doesn't punish the people that didn't do the crime. You know, there used to be a TV show called Beretta, I think, way back when. And he had a saying when he used to arrest somebody, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. We inflict this stuff on ourselves, basically. And it's true about eating the limb of a live animal. What Angela's saying is absolutely true. People do it all over the world. But they're not so sure that that's how this got started. This is how a story got started. This is how it all got started. But there's a guy that I don't want to go into all kinds of theories and stuff, but there's a guy that used to work with biological warfare back in the 70s or 80s, and he was from America. He was also stationed in China for a time. And this guy, the analysis that they have now is this virus has been spliced with different, I forget what they call them, but it comes from different, like a snake and for this and that. And it was what the United States isn't saying, and what Israel hasn't said yet, but other people have said it, is that this was engineered by man. It wasn't something that came out of that market where they ate live animals. That was started by, the focus on it was started by China, because that's right next in that city, actually, or right in the outskirts, is one of the biggest biological engineering government installations in the world. And it's China. And all they used to do there was figure out how to bioengineer stuff like this, because they can't work on nerve gases anymore and stuff like that. That's been outlawed, but this stuff has never really been outlawed. So I trust in Hashem. I know that everything's going to be okay. And however it started doesn't make any difference. The point is, we're living with it right now today, and we have to do something about it. So the only thing we can do is to protect ourselves, individuals. There's psalms you can pray. There's prayers you can pray in asking God to help us or take care of this, protect our families. But a lot of the things, see, the difference between religious prayer and walking the reality of God type prayer is you don't say, God save us, and sit back in your rocking chair and say, okay, I prayed to God, now he's going to take care of us, and I don't have to do anything, I'm just going to sit here and wait for him to do something. We have to be proactive. Proactive means doing some common sense things. Go to grocery store, take a thing with you to wipe off the handle of the grocery cart. Come in the house immediately before you do anything else, before you touch anything in the house, wash your hands with good soap. Soap is good enough. Just keep yourself clean. When you're out of your house, don't be touching a handle of a door and then wiping your forehead or going like this on your nose or licking your fingers. Don't shake hands with people. I know it's stupid, but these are just precautionary things. And it's tough because you forget. You meet somebody, we have a habit of meeting people and giving them a hug, a little kiss on their cheek, men to men, women to women. And so you have to remember not to do it. And it feels weird not doing it, but you got to do it. So anyway, that's there you go. Take our rest, go to bed on time, and drink water. Yeah, always stay hydrated. Our doctor told us that we should, especially when we're outside and we take a water bottle with us, and about every 15 or 20 minutes, just take a sip of water, because it helps wash anything that's gotten into your mouth down into your stomach, away from your lung area. Most people breathe through their mouths. But God created us to breathe through our noses, believe it or not. That's why we have those little hairs inside. They're filters. If we in through the nose and out through the mouth, that's the natural way of breathing. Why we do it a different way, I don't know. I don't understand it, but I've talked to some rabbis long before this happened, and they say it takes actual concentration and practice to do that. Nobody knows why, but that's the natural way of doing things. That's why we have those little nose hairs to filter stuff out. It doesn't get into our lungs. So, yeah, you know, I got
Thomas asked what psalms are best to use for prayer.
There's no psalm that's not good to use for prayer, but I get the list up. I'll have to look it up of ones to use for sickness, but you can always, I think Psalm 91 is a good one, always good. But there are others that are prayed for sickness. I'm looking for my piece of paper, the other things I'm going to talk about this morning. One of them was, wait a minute, I got to pull up another window here because I have it. It came up in a conversation. Oh, yes. You know, I put up a post about this pledge, this Noahide Pledge. They're doing it, whatever date is on that notice. And someone asked me about why is it needed? I know who I am. Why do I have to do this? And what I want to do is get up the answer that I wrote out so I can, how do you, let's see. New message, see all in Messenger. There we go. Just going to take me, here it is, I believe. Okay, this is the question. It's a really good question. What's the purpose of the pledge? I believe in the 13 principles of faith as stated by Maimonides. I have a problem committing them to memory. Okay, but I believe with complete faith each and every one of them. 3 of them I have believed all my life, that there is a God who's always existed, there will be a Messiah, and there will be a resurrection of the dead. I now understand these principles better from listening to the rabbis, and she listens to us and everything. My question is, what's the purpose of this pledge? What's the purpose of taking an oath actually and pledging? And this is the answer I gave, and it's just a short one. It is the main purpose, screen's too far away. The main purpose is so that Israel recognizes you as a Noahide, which in the Torah is called the righteous of the nations. It will also allow you, if the time comes before the Messiah arrives and Israel opens its borders to immigration, you would be allowed to move to Israel. This is a recognition of Israel about you. See, God, between you and God, he knows who you are. There is no question. But Israel doesn't know who you are. And they have not the same way of knowing the way God knows, because he knows your heart, he knows your intent. This is we're not sure if the borders are going to be opened up before the Messiah comes or not. I have a feeling they will be. The world's going to get to a state that the righteous of the nations will be allowed to move to Israel and participate in everything here in Israel. Now, this is where, and I'm going to have to use these words because I hate bringing them up, but this is where Ger Toshav comes into effect. A person becomes a Ger Toshav the minute they move to Israel, not before. That just means someone who lives in Israel. But to get the right to do that, just like when I came to Israel, when I made Aliyah to Israel, the law says any Jew born anywhere in the world can come and move to Israel. Well, I came and I told them I was Jewish. They said, oh, yeah, well, prove it. And so I had to get my circumcision certificate, my bar mitzvah certificate, letters from rabbis proving who I was, that I was genuinely a born Jewish boy. I also had to bring my parents' birth certificates and where their parents came from to prove that I was Jewish. So nobody gets allowed to live in the Holy Land of Israel, God's land, unless they prove who they are. Now, how are you going to prove who somebody is who doesn't have a bar mitzvah and doesn't have the rabbis and doesn't have any of the other things, didn't have a circumcision maybe? How are you going to prove it? You're going to just tell them and they're supposed to believe you? No, the onus of the proof belongs to you. So simply by taking this pledge and getting the certificate is a way to, and by getting it like now, and let's say 10 years from now, it happens that they open up the borders, you've been involved in this for 10 years already. They see it. They then can go to any of your teachers and ask about you if they want, or you can get letters of references. Everybody has to prove who they are when they come to live in Israel. The Jews do too. And today, there's a lot of Jews that are coming to Israel that it takes them 6 or 7 or 10 months to get approved. It's not like poof, because so many liars came. So many people came and made stuff up and the government bought it. You know, here in Israel, up until 6 months ago, if you came from out of country and you had a driver's license from whatever country or state you lived in, Israel didn't care. You had to go through the driver's ed, you had to go through the tests, you had to go through everything, and then you got your driver's license. Why? Because back in the 90s, when Israel opened up its borders to the European countries, including all the USSR countries, the states, Russia and all these others, people came with all kinds of certificates and they blindly took them. People that came with driver's licenses, they automatically gave them driver's licenses. From 1992 to 1997, there was an increase in traffic fatalities on the roads here in Israel. And the insurance companies started to look into it. What's going on here? And they found out that there was a huge increase in the drivers that came from a certain part of the world to Israel. So they went and started investigating and found out that all these driver's licenses that they converted over were false documents. Now, that was back in the 90s. Now we're in 2019, they changed it back. If you come with a driver's license from another part of the world, they will accept it now because all that stuff is gone through. We had dentists here working for years and years and years that came with certificates of dentistry, that they'd passed it and everything, and they just let them open up their dentist offices. And then they found out, they've closed a couple hundred dentists here in Israel over the last 10 or 15 years, where people really weren't dentists. They had no idea. I mean, just here, I'm a dentist. Let me open an office. Unfortunately, people do not nice things. And even some of the people that came here under the law of return, they found out that a lot of their documents were forged also. They weren't really Jewish. We ended up with actually a Nazi cell here in Ashdod. And fortunately, it was discovered the people were all exported out of here back to where they came from. So if you think that we're a little cautious or overly cautious, this same kind of treatment we've been getting has been happening for thousands of years. People come in, they try to change our way of thinking. Just a couple of months ago, this couple was discovered somewhere in Crown Heights or something. A beautiful, beautiful couple that were religious and everything else, but they were secretly talking to people about Yeshka. There's always people doing this. They came in undercover. So we're a little bit touchy about it. So and I will apologize for Israel and my people, for sometimes my people are a little rude and they turn around and walk away, or they won't help people, because this has happened to us so much. Not making excuses. It's just telling you what the facts are on the ground, just like we know that the COVID-19 is on the ground right now. It's got to be dealt with. So, sorry, Blaine left. Okay, he says he's going to leave. I'm sorry, Blaine. Sorry I came in late. But here's the significance of this pledge is important. If you are any kind of person that has any kind of responsibility or wants to take responsibility for things you say and do, then if you tell somebody, I'm a Noahide and God knows, well, it's nice, God knows. Yeah, there you go. Terry says, once bitten, twice shy. It's God knows. But when you stand and look at another human being and say, I'm a Noahide, you know what? They look at you and say, hey, yeah, well, let's see, you were a Protestant and became a Baptist and became a Catholic and became a Methodist. I mean, the process of just going from place to place has been around forever. This, you're taking an oath before God and before Israel that this is who you are. So it puts a little responsibility on you to remember that at all times. But it is a clear. It's not for any reason of control or anything else.
Or conversion.
Or conversion. Absolutely not conversion. Absolutely not. And I'm the kind of guy that I don't answer questions unless I'm asked them. And you guys are going to be hearing more and more stuff, but when I don't teach something that somebody hasn't asked me a question about. And I've run into something about this with somebody today because there's some deep stuff, and we're going to talk about it later. And I don't need to name the person I'm talking about, but why haven't I mentioned certain things before? Because it wouldn't be understood until somebody actually thinks of the question. When you actually think of a question, you've asked the right question to get an answer. But if I try to give the information before you're ready, like I used to do before I started studying, the guy would tell me something, I'd say, I don't need that. I don't have to believe in that. You know, where does my head have to go that way for? So when a person is ready for it, that's when they ask the question, that's when they got to get the answer. So a question came up before I got here. I was a little late. And I understand Veronica asked the question. Terry, you want to, or Veronica, can repeat the question?
Veronica, can you just re-ask the question so we know what direction you're asking from?
Okay, I'll try to remember how I worded it. It was basically having to do between hope and trust. I know at some point we trust Hashem, but then there's also this hope that comes in. So when you're talking to Hashem, you know, there's this hope that he will provide something or do something. How do you know between hoping that he'll do something by asking him, you're just kind of hoping that he'll do it, and actually asking him and trusting that he will do it or do something that, you know, would be applicable, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, and it's a very good question. Every single person on earth deals with that every day almost. Look, I can hope to have a full bank account. And I can pray to God to have a full bank account. Whether he does it or not, that's up to him. You can pray for a loved one who is sick. Hannah, may her memory be blessed, my first wife, I was married to for 44 years, became ill with cancer. Something that I never expected to happen in all our marriage time. And I always was telling her, look, when I go, then this will be this way and you'll be okay. And I mean, I never thought that she would go first. But when she got ill with cancer, I did a whole lot of praying. Oh boy, did I do some praying. And I used to pray over her at night, actually. I used to stay up and talk to God about it. And I trusted God that he was going to do what the thing that he was going to have the outcome come out the way he wanted it to come out. Now, I asked, because each person is created by God for a certain reason, or you wouldn't be here. And he is in control of our lives. As far as, we don't know when, we don't know how much time, but we know, or we understand, that the minute we're conceived, the clock's ticking towards our time of death. Now, when she died, when Hannah died, I was angry. Oh, was I angry? What's wrong? We didn't do what you wanted. We weren't good enough. Why couldn't you answer the question? Da, 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 da. And I got angry with God. And it's okay to get angry with God, by the way. He's not going to punish you for that. How many times has a little kid told their parents, I don't love you, when they get angry or something? So that happens to us. We're human beings. And I didn't understand until 3 or 4 years later where my life was going. I mean, the first year after that, I just stayed at home, shut the door, didn't want to know anything about anybody. And I kept doing my radio program 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. And that's the only thing that really I lived for. I didn't even go out grocery shopping. There was a little store across the street. I used whatever he had in the store, that's what I bought and ate. So it was a tough time for me. I was depressed. And one morning I woke up and I said to him, I said, look, there's got to be something more than this. There's something going on here. What is it? And about 6 or 7 months later, I realized what it was. And I'm not going to go into the whole story. But the point is, we have to trust him for every single thing and know that whatever happens, period, to us personally, he's in control of it. And what happens to our loved ones, what happens to everybody, he's in control of. And he has his reason for doing what he does, and we'll never understand it. There's no way. But if we remember that this life that we're in right now is a passageway, it's a corridor to the eternal life that we were born with, and that this life that in this body, the me that's in here moves on to a next life, even if the body doesn't. When the body wears out, David says it comes to worm food. That's what it is. That's all it is. But what's in us, the us, doesn't. It goes on to the next level of life. Our job is to perfect that little part of us that is a part of God, so that it is prepared to go to the next level of life. Some people never do that. And I don't know what happens to them. I try to help everybody I can get connected with the God of Israel. What God does with the souls that don't ever connect with him during this lifetime, I have no idea what happens to them. Nobody's come back to tell us a story, so we just don't know. But we take from what he's written in his word, and he says, I am who I am, and I am in control. I'm in control. His name, which we write, and I have to say it this way, I think you all know what it looks like in Hebrew, Yud Kei Vav Kei. That name, if you can pronounce it and rearrange it different ways, but they're all in Hebrew. The words that it can be changed around to are past, present, and future. He's everything. Out of those letters that form his words is the past, the present, and the future. Those letters that form his names. He's everything. There's nothing else. There's no existence other than his. We're just a part of that. So do I trust him? I can hope for all kinds of things. Sometimes we hope for the right thing. Sometimes we hope for the wrong thing. We can hope for somebody to win an election. We can hope for all kinds of stuff. We can even pray for somebody to win an election. But he's in control, and he's going to get it done. I used to say, I hope that God will do this or that. I don't say that anymore. When I pray to him and I'm asking for something, I say, may it be your will that something, whatever I want, happens. The kids and grandkids are safe for another week. Our health returns, all that kind of stuff. It's just, may it be your will, because my will doesn't mean anything here. It's got to be his will. But I trust in him that however things happen, that's what he wants to happen. Now, he's given us the guidelines to live by, to trust him by. We just have to, yes, he's infinite, absolutely, Thomas. Yeah, Thomas. What he tells us is all written down. He hides nothing from us, believe me. Now, how much we can understand of what is written down is how much we want to understand or have to understand in our own heads. If you understand that the divine attributes, we understand who he is, because he says, know who I am, and don't pray to anybody else. Don't blaspheme me. Don't take my name in vain. In your relationship with him, that's all he's asking for. In your relationship with human beings, he's telling you the other five are human being, relationship with human being to human being, not with him. If you look at the tablet of 10 Commandments, on one side you have 5, the other side you have 5. The first 4 on one side or know who he is, and the one in there about keeping the Shabbat that the Jews have to do. The 5th one down is honor your parents. Honor your parents. Then the next 5 have to do with all how we treat other people and animals in the earth. The honor your parents is a transition from one side to the other. The first 4, God says, okay, 3 of them I want you guys, everybody to do, which is no blaspheming and no, and not taking his name in vain, and knowing who he is. Then it tells, there's one in there for the Jews, honoring the Shabbat, keeping the Shabbat, however it's put. Then honor your parents. Why doesn't he put don't murder there? Why doesn't he put don't do sexual immorality there? Why? Because from him, the next step is honoring your parents. But when you honor, who is he to us? He's our Father. So he's saying you honor me and you honor your earthly parents. Doesn't say that you have to do everything they say. It doesn't say you have to love them. It says give them honor. They're the ones that got together with him to bring you into this earth. It was a committee meeting. A man and a woman can't bring a child unless God is involved. He has to decide that person is going to be created at that point in time. So we have how we think about him, the mother and father, love him and honor him, honor your parents, and then how are you going to interact with all the other human beings? So if you just interact with all the other human beings properly and know that God is in charge and honor him, That's all you need to do. It's not a big deal, not for you guys and not for the Jews. He just gave us a bunch of rituals and other things we have to do for whatever his reason is, that we do these things so we can study. You know, the secrets of the Torah would still be locked if he hadn't told us to study it, read it, study it. It even comes down to how words are spelled in Hebrew, what the understanding is of them. You can translate them to any language you want, but you got to look at them in Hebrew, and some of the words are missing letters. Some of them have double letters where they shouldn't be. It's like a big code. And we've been studying it for 3,400 years, so we know a lot. We don't know everything, but we know a lot. You know, in the Bible, what does it say about personal cleanliness? Always talking about wash your hands, keep yourself clean, do this and do that. What is all the world learning today? Wash your hands. It's been in the Bible forever. When they discovered germs, you know, and then we had a microscope and we could see inside of it and everything, long before that was around, God was telling us how to do things. If you read in the Torah about how they did sacrifices, how they did things, they knew all the parts of the body inside. They knew what they all did. This was all written. God gave us, so the information is there. So, but each of us don't have to go learn it on our own, because some great person before us thought this stuff up. So if you trust him, trust that he's already given us the information, trust him in this thing that's going on in the world today, that the cure is here already. If there's a disease, the cure is here already. We just haven't seen it yet. We don't have to go hunt it. We have to hunt for it because we have to find it. We haven't seen it yet, but it exists somewhere on this planet, and not in some chemical combination made up in a laboratory. There is a natural way to cure everything. Maybe a combination of herbs and things, but we've got so reliant on the laboratory and artificial ways. The vaccine will be here and it'll be okay. Just trust in him that he's going to get it done. Now, I don't know, we can hope for things, but sometimes you got to think about, are we hoping for the right thing? We're supposed to think like he thinks. When we start thinking like he thinks, then he starts thinking like we think. You understand how this works? Once we start thinking like he thinks in whatever we're thinking about, that's when our oneness comes even closer with him. So lots of times people hope for things and ask for things that, you know, either going to get it or not going to get it, but, you know, I'm going to hit the lottery this week. I'm hoping for that. Or I hope that this thing that I'm doing, that I believe I'm doing for God, really works. I hope that, look, Cher and I have been doing tour for the nations for years and years. I did it before we got married. We've done it for 6 or 7 years. And I used to say to her, I prayed to God every night, give me some key that will unlock some understanding with people, so some more people will come. There's got to be a single key, something that unlocks things. We worked, we had nobody to go to teach us these things. There's nobody that's been around a long time doing this kind of thing so you can learn from one to the next. There is now, thank goodness, but we've done it for years and years and years. And just in the last 18 months to 2 years, it started to flower. Many times we decided to quit. We thought, nah, we're not going to do it. Done with it. Can't do it anymore. And not only just because it was draining us emotionally, but it whacked the heck out of us financially. And so we decided, okay, well, we're just going to have to throw this over because we just can't do this anymore. And we got into a lot of debt over it, and we still have a lot of debt over it, and we're still accumulating some of the debt just to get this done. And every time we sit down and we say, why should we keep on doing this? We both look at each other and said, we can't stop. we were put together for a reason. We're doing this for a reason, and God wants it done. And we just go forward. And we just go forward. And there are a lot of guys out there and women doing the same thing. Now, you guys come along, and it's like, wow, all this study and all this work is paying off. People are coming to the God of Israel. People are leaving idolatry. You know how good that makes us feel? I mean, we thank God every day for the people that are leaving and learning and coming and learning how to open themselves up to just rely on God. Trust Him. So, Veronica, to get to the point about hope, you have to be the one to put your hope in the right direction and know the difference between, is it something he's actually going to get actively involved in or not? I gave up. I used to say, I hope for this and I hope for that. And then I got to the point where I said, he's in charge. Whatever happens, thank you, God, it's happening. And when you go through a major loss in your life and you lose somebody, it kind of puts everything in place for you. You understand that he's going to do what he wants to do in the end. His will is what's going to happen. So what I have to say to him is, if it is your will, please help. It makes me feel better, but he already knows what I want. He already knows everything. He knows the situation of all of us. He knew that Thomas was going to hook up with some guys and he's going to be moving to Tennessee. He knew long before Thomas knew. See, he knows. He knew that you people listening to me right this minute were going to get out of this foreign, strange work. You're going to walk away from the not paying attention to him, but you know what I mean? I don't want to say idol worship because I don't really believe anybody believes what they're doing is idol worship. But you're coming into his road, his path. But he knew you were going to be there. So as you were going along all the years, I don't care how long you were in your other religion, I don't care how long you were pastor or leader or whatever, and he was training you to do what he wants you to do now. He knew you were on the way. And I can talk a lot about that and give you examples, what happened in my life, how I got trained and got moved to the next level. And if you guys look back, you'll see the exact same thing. No matter who you are, he's working with you right now. So we get to next year, this time, you're going to be in a place where you're going to say, wow, look where I am. And he's going to say, well, I knew you were going there. You know, that's just the way God is. So Veronica, I don't know if I've really, let me say one more thing. Trust in God is not easy. You know, when you have a friend and something happens in your life, we're here in quarantine in the house. For 2 days, people were knocking on the door, bringing us food, bringing us, you know, they didn't come in. They just handed us stuff. And a couple of friends, we came and we did a little germ killing with some whiskey and other stuff. That's if you see Big Mo and his wife in the picture, in one of the pictures there, he brought some germ killer with him, and we took advantage of it. But those friends, you know, they're true friends because they came and helped you at a time when you really needed it. But you know, God doesn't work exactly like that. Sometimes he's going to leave you alone because he wants you to realize for yourself what's going on and where you're going. He hasn't left you. He's just leaving you alone for a minute because he feels the lesson you're getting, you're better off learning on your own. I wish it wasn't that way. I'd have saved myself a whole lot of grief during my life, but that's just the way it is. So, Veronica, did I come anywhere near close to answering your question for you?
Yes, you did. In fact, it gave me another thought that hope and trust can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
In that you hope that Hashem would do something, but you trust him to do what what is best.
Exactly.
So it can go hand in hand then, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can hope he's going to do something and then trust you and have the trust in him that you know that he's going to do the right thing, whatever it is, but you're hoping it's going to go this way. That's fine. That's the way we all are, the same way. Exactly. So yeah, that's a good way to put it, Veronica.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let's see. I'm reading very quickly this question that was put up here. Okay, let's talk about weddings, funerals, and things like that, where people, your family, especially your family. I just had an incident with a lady that became a Noahide, I don't know how many years ago. Wow, she visited us here in Israel 5 years ago. Her brother, who lives in one of I forget what islands, the islands off the coast of the USA that are part of the U.S. possessions, they're called territories or something. And she lives down in Florida. And he became really, really ill. And she brought him to America. They did a lot of treatments to him here in America in the hospitals. And he went back. And 3 days after he went back, he passed. So she called me and she says, look, I don't know what to do. I'm going to go to that funeral. It's going to start off in a church. They're going to be praying all this stuff that I can't stand to hear anymore. And it just makes my blood boil that none of my family will listen. And it makes me angry. And I can't do it. I'm not going to the funeral. Here's my answer to her. And I think it's the same answer that this question I got in the chat. You guys didn't see it. It was a private question. But this is what I would tell someone when they come to me. And it also has to do with holidays and other things, but it's real important. Weddings, funerals, those are two biggies. And it's even, by the way, if it would be a same-sex marriage or something like that, something you just don't condone. Family, you have to be bigger than to just say, well, I'm walking away and my family, I'm just don't believe them, or I don't do this, or I don't do the other thing, and get angry with them. If it's your children, if it's your close family, it's your mother, your father, no matter what you believe, you don't want to, it causes more injury to stay away from your family because it causes you stress, it causes them stress, and it's not, remember what the Torah is in essence. Bottom line of Torah is what? Don't do to anybody else what you wouldn't want done to you. So that means you wouldn't want your parents or your children or your siblings or anybody, let's say if you're getting married, not to come to your wedding. Or, when the time comes, God forbid, everybody should live to 120, that you are being buried, you would want your family and your friends and your children and everybody to come to it. Doesn't make any difference what kind of ceremony it is. My advice to people is that they participate, but what you can't to participate is in a ceremony. You can't, when you show up, you can't make it look like you're praying along with everybody else, but you attend. If it's a child that's getting married and they're marrying outside of what you believe is right, you don't have to take actual part in the ceremony, but you do have to be there. You do have to show your child that you love that child no matter what, because God loves us no matter what. I don't care who you are. I don't care how bad you are. God loves his children. So you have to find a way. What I told this lady to do was take with her a book of Psalms. And when you're going through ceremony and we're doing all this other stuff, just open the book and read Psalms. That's all. You're like you're viewing something that's happening. You don't have to take part in it. The big thing here is, and it's especially important for family, don't let family come apart because of that. If someone comes up to you let's say it's a wedding and children, do you approve of this? You don't have to say yes or no. You know what? What's happening is all in God's hands, and that's it. You might think of a better answer you want to give. Don't ever give a negative answer. Don't ever accuse somebody of anything. Just go there and participate. Don't participate actively in whatever ceremony is going on and stuff like that. I don't know. It's about the only way I can say it. Now, you're going to ask rabbis. They're going to tell you don't go. Show don't get involved in it. Don't go. Well, some rabbis say that. But in the Gemara, there are certain things that are allowed and certain things that aren't allowed. And there's rabbinically in the Gemara, in the commandments, there's Torah commandments and there's the rabbinical. The rabbinical, if in an extreme instance you have to ignore or be lenient about it, what you're doing is you're not really sinning. What you're doing is not getting a blessing for what you're doing. You're not elevating what you're doing. You're not bringing it up into holiness, but it's staying neutral. So there's no plus, no minus. So it depends on who you ask, and you can get people's opinions. But if you ask for a ruling, I won't give a ruling on something like this. I only give my opinion. Most rabbis will go right back to the Jewish area and give you something out of that, because that's all they know. The minute there's a bet din, a courts of judgment for the Noahides, then that question can be asked in front of the court. The court can give you an answer, and that'll apply to all Noahides when they make that decision. Right now, there isn't really anybody knowledgeable enough to tell you this is the ruling, this is the way it's got to be. I think it's in Deuteronomy, but I'm not sure. God says, you'll appoint judges among yourselves. Now, there's two types of judges. There's the civil stuff judges, like every country has. But then there's the judges on your relationship between you and him. And that's what the kind of courts that need to be set up for you guys. And let me tell you something, that people have tried to do it. Wendell Jones and Jim Long and Sam Peake tried to do it. People tried to do it, but right now, the Noahides themselves are not quite ready for that, because there is no community for that. And this is what we're trying to help you guys do, is build a community where you are. I mean, this is great. Here's a virtual community here. Isn't that wonderful? But who am I going to sit down and have a cup of coffee with? Who can I just call on the phone and chit chat with? Who's going to come over for dinner? Who are my kids going to play with? This takes work, and a lot of work. Those of you that came out of Christianity and that worked within Christianity worked at this stuff every single day, keeping the community together, bringing them together, but you had people to talk to because they were already there. And the churches were already there. Somebody had to start a couple of thousand years ago to get it going. You guys are the ones that are starting now to get this community built around the world. You guys in your own area, there's ways that we can help, you can help, start building things. And it may not be exactly the way you want to do it in the beginning. Nothing ever is. You got to lay the foundation. You got to build the walls. And sometimes when you look at it, don't look too pretty. But you just got to keep going forward and working hard. And you have to have some other people helping you also in your area. You just, you get one other couple together, already you're starting a community. You get 2 or 3 more couples, it's starting to grow. So we're really trying to get this is what Scotty's about, this is what Terry's about. That's why they've been learning and why they're getting their certifications here very shortly for the teaching and everything, so that they can show people, yeah, look, I'm certified. What does that mean? A big deal, I'm certified. It means they took the time and trouble to make the commitment to learn what can be done to help people. When someone signs the Noahide Pledge in front of 3 rabbis, they've committed to themselves and to Israel. We're with you. We're part of that community of greater Israel, and we're going to go forward. And you just have to go forward in the condition in which the relationship is at the time. Because in the end, it's going to bring you right into, people worry about salvation. God says, if you do this, and yeah, I know who you are, but does the rest of the community know who you are? Israel is a community. It's a nation. We all know who each other are, I guess. We all know who each other are. And now you guys have to know each other, and Israel has to know you too. And you have to accept it the way it is in the world right now today. It will change. Trust God. It will change as He says it will. And maybe it's not perfect the way you would like it to be today, but it's the way to get it done so it will be perfect when the day comes. It's the only way I know how to explain it. So nobody's trying to control anybody or anything. We're getting to know people, to know one another. You guys, at 8 o'clock Eastern time, you turn on your computers, you come to the Zoom room, you know that this is going to happen. We all know who each other are. Go to a different Zoom room, they don't know who you are. Who are you? Oh, welcome, but who are you? I don't know. We are a community right now, you guys, and me and my wife. It's one part of being part of the community of Israel. And if we can get other people to become parts of the community, it's wonderful and great. And people here are trying to help other Noahide groups online get things done. That's wonderful. It's really good. It has to be done in a way that all of you guys and your children and your grandchildren and their children can continue to be part of the overall community. Wow, just think about it. If your grandchildren could say to somebody, you know what? Your great-grandchildren now. My great-grandma started learning way back when, and we've been doing this for 3 generations now. What a wonderful thing. Think about what you're starting. Think about your families as you grow. Now, some of us are a little bit old for that, but essentially, when someone can look back and say, yeah, we've been doing this 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, there's no question for anybody who you are. My people, the Jews, the original B'nai Noah, sons of Noah, and B'nai Israel, the sons of Yaakov, Israel, we had a face-to-face meeting with God 3,400 years ago. Face-to-face. We spent 40 years studying. Now it's, yeah, you're punished because of this. You're punished because of that. You're punished because of that, it says during that Exodus period. If God didn't want us there, we wouldn't have been there. He was teaching us. And we crossed over into Israel, and we're still learning. And we're still learning today after 2 destructions of the Holy Temple. We're always learning. We're moving to higher levels. We're moving to higher levels. Humanity is. One last thought on this is, do you know if Moses or Abraham or Isaac or Jacob were to come into the Zoom room right now and sit down across from the screen and start talking to us, I don't know that we would be able to understand anything they're saying. Those people were so far above us, so different than us in holiness to God, in dedication to God. When we think about Moses, you think about him like today. You look in the mirror, yeah, Moses was a guy like me. Okay, well, but that's not so. Talks about Jacob moving a wheel of stone off a well, and everybody's, how could he do that? Even the shepherds wonder how he could do it. They were different people, but we're going back there again, all of us, to be that kind of people and being holy people. And the minute we go into the next level of life, that's what we are. We're holy. We're then dedicated 100%. That has us do evil is gone. We won't have any free choice because we won't want it. We're just going to do everything God tells us to do, learn everything God tells us to do, and we're going to live in joy and happiness. But we have to go through this first. You're welcome, by the way, for the answer. Yeah, okay. I think there was one more thing I want to talk about tonight. A piece of paper somewhere on my desk. I can't think about where it is, but it's getting late. You guys were patient waiting for me 40 minutes to wake up and get on here. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about or say? Go ahead, Thomas.
Was you going to talk about that, what you put up? Is that tonight, like at 2 a.m, or well, in morning for us, but the 12th?
I'll tell you why I know. We have something set up for Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Is that what it is? We're going to we have it set up now. If
Yes.
anybody is interested in actually taking the pledge from the people, this is like a general announcement, but we have a special meeting set up at 9 o'clock Sunday morning.
Yes.
9 o'clock Sunday morning. Anybody wants to join in can. The only reason to join in is if you want to take the pledge. We're going to have rabbis there. Pardon?
Same number?
No, if you want to send me a message and I'll put you on the list and I'll let you know. So the people who are coming already know that already have signed up. Just if you want to do it, I think we have one family that's going to be there, and husbands and wives and are more than welcome to come. Children over the age of 13 can come. Other kids can come too if they happen to be there, but the kids below 13 don't need to take a pledge. There's a very big technical reason why that is. Okay, so I'll post it up again for that meeting when we're going to do it. It's kind of like Tour for the Nations is organizing. Anybody that wants to come, you may come. Anybody that wants to come.
And Angela asked if Thursday is out. No, Thursday they're still doing that. I think you've got to get registered because the room is
I did.
limited. It's just for us, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning on a work night. For some of us, wouldn't be able to do it. So they're making some concessions for us in the Eastern time zone.
Go ahead, Thomas.
They did send me a thing back.
You then do it. If you want to do it there, then you can do it there. That's
But it'd
okay.
be at 2 in the morning, right, for me?
Yeah. No, well, what time is it by you now?
It's 9:46 right now.
Yeah, it'll be 2 in the morning.
So I need that.
2:15 or something like that.
I need that pledge done, don't I?
If you can come to the meeting that we're going to have on Sunday morning, which will be what time? Thomas's time. What time's
It'll be 9 o'clock Thomas's time too.
Oh, he's in Standard Time.
No,
I mean, he's in
he's
Eastern.
Yes.
Okay, then it would be like 9 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, if you miss the other one.
I'll do it Sunday then with everybody else.
Hey, Thomas, did you do the pre-registration thing that they had going?
All I did was send in a thing and they sent me a time.
Oh, okay.
I didn't, it wasn't,
Like I said, I can message you the words of the pledge. It's the same one that, if I'm understanding right, Pesach, it's the same one that was on the temporary pledge where I pledge allegiance to Hashem.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been some rewording or something, but it's essentially that you're committing to the one God. And go ahead and read it, what it says, Terry.
I pledge my allegiance to Hashem, God Israel, creator and king of the universe, and to his Torah. I will adhere to the 7 laws of Noah, and I furthermore pledge to continue to uphold these laws and all their details according to the oral law of Moses, under the guidance of the rabbis. Blessed are you, God, King of the universe, who has caused me to live, sustained me, and brought me to this day.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh, well, congratulations, Chrissy.
so if I'm registered, I shouldn't miss it tonight then, huh?
Well, the reason I asked for pre-registration is because they only have so many slots open that people get into. If you want to do it tonight, do it tonight. If you want to do it on Sunday morning, do it on Sunday morning. But I think it's an important thing, and you will get a signed certificate from Jerusalem with your name on it and everything. You do get that. So it's signed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overtalk you, Pesach.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Now, will we Terry, have you and I already got a pre-registration? Has Terry and I already have a pre-registration?
For Sunday?
For Sunday, you guys are in. Yeah.
Okay. My 2 sons are going to come here. And to be myself, my wife, and my 2 sons. Is that going to be adequate if we all just come in?
Yes, you're here. You're signed up. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good deal.
Terry and his wife are signed up. A couple other people have told me they want to come, and we're just going to get it done. Go ahead, Thomas.
I want to do it Sunday.
Just come Sunday. That's all.
All right.
Just come Sunday.
Is it this number or a different number?
That'll be a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll send you. Terry will help out. You'll get the information. We'll have the information, then we'll get it to you.
And I'll message you the words of the pledge too. So if you want to print it off or whatever, you have it.
Good. Thank you all.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I have a question on that declaration or whatever. When I guess you apply on the Noahide World Center page or Brit Olam, how do they know who you are?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that the people that I'm recommending, they're just accepting because I'm part of them, and so if you go ahead and do the pre-registration there, it's okay. Take that initial pledge that they give, but if you're coming Sunday when you come, it's essentially invitation only, and the others is pre-registration. Basically, they're going to know everybody coming. There has to be someone, a teacher or somebody that's bringing you along or recommends you.
Oh, okay. I understand. Thanks.
Okay, it's not just willy-nilly. Anybody that shows up gets sworn in type thing. It's not done that way, and that's what, like Terry and Scotty are getting, along with those certificates, they're getting other certificates that shows that they've learned what they need to learn to be teachers and leaders in the Noahide community, and they're going to get those so they can use it in their areas or in jail. You know, if you go to the government and you want to go into a jail and talk to people there and whatever and teach there, you're certified to do that. It's just not somebody walking up saying, hey, this is who I am, believe it or not. So anybody who wants to get involved in any of this stuff, just let me know. No, not 9:30 a.m. Israel time, 7 p.m. something like that. Send on my Facebook page. And Scotty shared it too. There's the announcement for that meeting. That's a different meeting. Then there's another one that I've put together for Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. It is 3 in the afternoon Israel time. What we're going to have, and that's so I don't know, because of the time zones and stuff and the daylight savings time and stuff, you guys got to figure out your own time zone. But whichever meeting is convenient for you, if you know, Rabbi Goldberg knows who you are, Angelica. So if you send it, it won't make any difference which one you go to. The vouching's already been done for you. Everybody, you know.
Yeah. So that is today then. Am I correct?
No, you can if you want, or you can come Sunday. It doesn't make any difference.
Okay. I just always get the time stuff wrong. So when it says Israel, Thursday, 9:30 a.m.
That's Wednesday night.
That's Wednesday night for us.
Yeah, like 10.
Like,
yeah, that'd be
what
like.
time would that be?
There's only
That'd be 7 p.m.
6 hours from now.
Oh, oops.
It's 6 hours, 5 hours from now. There'd be 5 hours from now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, anything else anybody wants to talk about, wants to bring up? Okay, guys, get ready, get set, because this year it looks like it's not going to happen because all the airplane stuff and everything. But next year in November, that's the targeted date, there's going to be a worldwide conference in Jerusalem. People will be coming from all over the world to come together, Noahides, to learn, to meet each other, to become part of a community together. You got a year and a half to get the money together. We will very quickly be publishing the travel group in the USA that's putting it all together, and the price of the inland package. You have to worry about the airfare and insurance, but there'll be a list of everything that's going on. So very soon it'll be out. They tried to sneak in some sites that I don't think are relevant. I don't know if you guys are, but they wanted to take people to the tomb and the upper room. All sound familiar? I told them, take it off the tour.
Yeah, been there, done that. I threw away the t-shirt.
Yeah, they're and let's go to Nazareth and let's that's not interesting, not to me, and I don't think to anybody's in Noahide right now. That's a done deal for us. Any other? Just start thinking about it. Hopefully airlines will still be operating in the world. A lot of them are going belly up during this whole mess that's going on, and there'll be free travel by then. My daughter is going to be here for Passover, which is in 4 or 5 weeks. She can't come, and a lot of other people who are supposed to come to Israel for the Passover holidays aren't going to be able to make it. It's a shame, but it's all in God's hands. We just got to trust Him. It's all for the good.